Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Supremacist Show. We've got a few things to cover today, a few interesting topics. We're going to start with obviously the Donald Trump topic. Then I want to talk a little bit more about some Twitter beef, some other stuff, Candace Owens, Jordan Peterson, Nick Fuentes. There's a lot of interesting things going on. And just in general, the right wing movement, the conservative movement in America is so confusing for me. And I really don't get a lot of it. But anyway, so let's get started with Trump. So I'm just sweating because it's so hot in here. It's crazy how hot it is. It's like that Trump meme where it's like, it's so hot in here. Turn the thing like it's like crazy. Oh my god. So let's get started with Trump. So I want to kind of start with my journey with Donald Trump. So I didn't you hear everybody, okay, pre 2016, 2015. What did everybody really know about Trump? Like in the public consciousness, he was really just a like this billionaire, like playboy type of dude, like not necessarily a degenerate, but like a socialite, elitist kind of degenerate. Like, like you'd think like he's all in the hedonism, like playboy, drugs, like, and stuff like that. Casino, gambling. And so that's all everyone really knew of him. And then suddenly he announces that he's running for prime minister. He's running for president. Pardon me. And it was like crazy. And like I remember since the day he announced it, I started following his campaign, and I was like, he's never gonna win the primary. Like he's not even gonna get as far as winning the Republican primary. And boom, he wins the Republican primary. And I was like so shocked. I remember like, oh my god. And what's crazy, I had this gut feeling that since he won the primary, I just felt like he was gonna win the whole election. Like I just for some reason, like I just kind of knew it in my gut that he was just gonna win the whole election. And it was just wow. It was what a wild run it was when he beat Hillary, and like a political outsider like never before seen, like genuinely never before seen. And like my political perspective is that I try to keep a very open mind. I think it's very important to hear all kinds of different views and all kinds of different things. You should hear and listen and have a very open mind about all perspectives. And it's just interesting the way it worked out with Donald Trump. And I just thought he was gonna do more as well. To be honest, I mean, it's like one of the things that I really thought that he was gonna do was that border wall. He was gonna really shut down the border, which he didn't, which was really sad in a way. I think a lot of the illegal immigration that is in a way it's his fault because he closed it down. I mean, they could have opened up after anyways, so it's not that big of a deal. But had he done better during his term, who knows? Like, so one of the biggest things obviously was that he never built that wall, and that just really I think it really annoyed a lot of people as well. I think it really annoyed a lot of people as well. But yeah, so during his presidency, I just expected so much more from him. I expected so much more from him, but he did do a lot of good things for what he's worth. A lot of interesting things. Obviously, the left wing and the left wing controlled media absolutely just like took his soul. Like they absolutely ended everything. And then obviously COVID happened, so that also was crazy, 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 crazy. We had like for most of Trump's presidency, we had the Russia problems, the Russia disinformation, election, blah blah blah, and so he was just like constantly swamped in that. And then obviously COVID happened, so it just kind of really took his soul in that regard. And it was just really truly quite. He's like such an intriguing person because it's like, how do you handle what you handle? And um, it was just amazing the way it all worked out. And then obviously he loses, and you have the Jan 6 riots, and you have all this other stuff, and then all these like convictions, and you have all this other all these other convictions, and you have all these court cases since then. And it's very like, I mean, sorry, like you cannot tell me that this is not very obviously um very obviously like political opposition, dissent, um trying to attack him into submission. And it makes you really truly wonder like how interesting or dumb the Democrats really are, because like what was the plan here? We're gonna run Joe Biden, who's like very like objectively, he is completely out of it. Like he's so old, clearly has Parkinson's, or at least early signs of Parkinson's. We're gonna run him against Trump. Like, how is that ever gonna work out? Aside from any nefarious activities, how will we ever win that election? Like, I genuinely don't understand that. Like, I just don't understand what's going on in the world when I think of like smart people who are like running the world, making performances like these. And so you gotta sit there. You gotta sit there and be like, you gotta like remark at the absolute like stress match of a man that's gone through what Trump's gone through, like crazy, crazy. Anyways, so obviously, what's funny is I have all these different like news channels on my phone, and I'm getting like these notifications like Trump's taken off, shots heard, and Trump's taken off the stage. And those are the initial ones, and I'm like, oh, like it's just like I don't want to say the classic, but kind of like the classic like that you hear, right? That it's like, oh, like shots were heard, and like just for his safety they took him off. Like that's what I thought. Then as slow like that was the initial report said, and then as slowly. But here's what's interesting, and we're gonna watch the video as well. How can you get that conclusion that shots were heard when there's clearly blood on his face from the initial video? So it's like I don't understand how you could get to that conclusion that shots were just heard when there's literally blood on his face. Like you could tell that he's grazed, and he's like grazed somewhere. And I mean, if you watch the video, you could tell it's from in his ear very clearly. And it's like the mainstream media is just crazy like that. And then obviously it comes down later. It comes out like literally like 20, 30 minutes later that he's actually been shot. And you're like, oh my God, Donald Trump, who's very likely to win the presidency, who's been leading all polls for how long now, on a crazy streak, has just been shot. And let's watch this and let's see what you guys think.
I really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Okay. Can we just pause and I need to understand a few things. What century or what year are we living in? Like what? How is it possible how is it even possible that in 2024, like we still are having these problems? Like, I remember, this is a funny story. I was with one of my closest friends, and we were watching this movie, and it was on Netflix, so we were on like one of those like, websites, like 1, 2, 3 movies or something like that, watching this movie, and we got like started spinning, like he's like, oh my God, the spinning wheel of death. I'm like, okay. And he's like, oh my God, this is so annoying. And then we were like, reload it, and he just got so frustrated. He's like, oh my God, these were problems we were dealing with 10 years ago. Like, how are we still having these problems? And like, that's kind of how I feel with this. Like, these were problems, like an unsafe rally for an American politician were problems we were dealing with like 50 years ago. Hashtag JFK. Like, these are problems we were dealing with 50 years ago. How are these problems how are we still dealing with these problems now? And that's just crazy for me to like think about, like, how are we still dealing with these problems right now? Because you'd think there'd be enough security. You'd think there'd be like we're gonna vet everybody, and there's like numerous shots. Like, how did you even fit that in there? Surely a rally in Pennsylvania's got to be top seat. Like, the security's got to be unbelievable. So that raises another question. Actually, before we get to that question, like, surely the Secret Service is involved. Like, this is a very likely to be soon president. The Secret Service is involved. Like, how many rallies has he done in his time, in his tenure? How many rallies? And like, how many more rallies does he need to do? Like, there's a protocol. We understand that we're going to cover all the top surfaces. These are like a very, like, I'm not in security. And even I could sit there and be like, okay, we're going to have this president over here. These are the things that we got to cover. Okay, guys, everybody's going to watch the roofs. We're going to make sure all the roofs are clean. There's no access to get to these roofs. Any high points are all covered. All right, there's going to be serious control of how to get in and out. There's going to be serious crowd control, crowd management. There's going to be security here. We're going to have all these kinds of things. And then obviously we're going to vet every single person coming in that they're not carrying a gun. And there's like 5-6 shots heard there. And it's like, how is this like, and so, which brings us to the question is like, how is this even possible without some serious, like, because I'll have my hair sorted next time, I tell you. How is it even possible for this to happen? And then that leads you down another rabbit hole. Like, is this planned? Does someone look the other way? How did this even happen? Whoa, wow. Can we also just talk about for a second, like, who are these people doing these shootings? Like, how do you have it in your psyche? Can you imagine the person's psyche who has it in their head? Um, like, like, can you imagine the psyche of someone be like, yeah, I'm gonna go shoot this person and unalive them, and it's funny if we have to use that word, by the way, and we're gonna unalive them, and we're gonna we're gonna unalive them. And like, what do you think's gonna happen to you after? It turns out he's dead. So like, how can you be like walking? Can you imagine this? Like, you're walking to your death. That's crazy. Did everybody see that guy in the corner? Look at him. Oh my god. Oh my god, I've never been to a Trump rally. I was in America for 6 months and I kind of should have gone, but it just never really worked out. But I mean, this is not even because I'm like a super Trumper or anything like that. It just would have been such an interesting atmosphere because American politics is so much more divisive and aggressive than Canadian politics. And sometimes you wonder why that is. I've been recently wondering why that is, and I realized it's because this America is the greatest empire in the history of humanity in the sense that it's the strongest empire and the most advanced technologically empire in the history of humanity. And so if it is a democracy and people have to vote, you need to politicize everything. It needs to be politics in people's daily lives in order for them to vote, in order for them to be involved. And so that is the primary reason in my honest understanding of the world. But um, yeah, let's look at what happens from here. Let's discuss, guys, what's gonna happen from here. So, wow. First of all, do you guys think this will boost him or kind of like take him down? Because in the sense that on one hand, this will definitely boost his numbers because like people get sympathy and wow, like they're trying to take him out. On the other hand, it's like he probably won't do as many rallies now. I mean, will he? I mean, knowing him, he probably will. Then again, like you think like, well, what a trooper, like he's gonna go all out, but it's like he's also towards the end of his life, really. So it's like, what is there really also left at that point? And he's like what 80 something, and like what's also interesting for me is like you're 80 something, and like what is the like what cocktail of drugs are you on to be that active? Like that's also very intriguing for me to like truly understand. Like what is he on? Like he has to be on something. There's no way that an 80-year-old is just that like active without being on something. And so I think his post numbers are gonna go up. I think it's gonna help his run. I mean, the only thing it wouldn't help is if he like probably takes time away from rallies because like his campaigning is all about endless rallies, and so that's gonna probably be. I think that's gonna be hurt. On the other hand, let's imagine that did just get unalived. Well, what happened then? Wouldn't the RNC just have to just choose another person? Like, what would another candidate? And who would the RNC choose? Imagine they chose Haley. Like, could you imagine? Like, where would the what's crazy is this: if like let's say they chose Haley, and all the MAGA voters and Republicans would probably go to like RFK at that point, and RFK would like probably have a good chance of winning. Like, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, what a wild ride! American politics is crazy. Really, truly crazy. Biden came out and gave it like a 1 minute statement as well, said he wants to talk to him and everything like that. And it's like, wow, they really just try to kill him. Like, who, like, wow, that is unbelievable. Mind blowing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below if you made it this far. Thank you all for watching, and I will get better at this.